I used to believe that love could survive anything. I believed it so deeply that I gave up my entire life for the man I married, the man I thought would always cherish me. But 4 years of sacrifice came crashing down in one night, when I overheard the very same man call me his free maid. That moment broke something inside me, and set me free. It all started the day of the accident. My husband, Mark, was a proud, ambitious man, always on the go. But one rainy evening, his car spun off the road, and in a single heartbeat, our future was rewritten. The doctors told us he would never walk again. I can still remember the way his eyes stared at the ceiling in that hospital room, hollow and angry, as if his whole world had been ripped away. And in truth, it had. But it wasn't just his world that changed, it was mine too. Without a second thought, I quit my job, abandoned my social life, and dedicated myself to his care. I told myself it was love, that it was my duty as a wife, and I meant every word. I woke at dawn every day to lift him out of bed, cook his meals, help him shower, dress, and keep the house running. I learned how to massage stiff muscles, how to shift him gently in his chair so he wouldn't develop sores, how to smile when I wanted to cry. At first, I believed my devotion would heal him, not physically, but emotionally. I thought if I gave enough, he would feel secure, loved, and respected. But Mark changed. His frustration turned into bitterness, and his bitterness into cruelty. The man I once loved began lashing out at me for the smallest things. The food wasn't hot enough, the laundry wasn't folded right, the TV remote wasn't in reach. He never said thank you. He never even looked at me the way he used to. To him, I wasn't his wife anymore. I was just there. And yet, I kept going. I told myself he was in pain. That his words weren't him, but his suffering speaking through him. When family and friends stopped visiting, when neighbors looked at me with pity, I convinced myself that what I was doing was noble, that one day he would realize the depth of my loyalty. I kept sacrificing, day after day, year after year, until I barely recognized the woman in the mirror. Then came the night that changed everything. It was late, nearly midnight. I had just finished cleaning the kitchen after another long day. My back was sore, my hands raw, and my eyes heavy, but I heard Mark's voice coming from the living room. He was on the phone, speaking more animatedly than I had seen him in years. Curious, I lingered in the hallway, clutching a folded blanket I had planned to bring him. And then I heard it. "Why would I ever leave her?" he said with a mocking laugh. "She's my free maid. She cooks, she cleans, she wipes me, and she doesn't complain." Honestly, I hit the jackpot. The words pierced me deeper than any wound. My breath caught, my knees went weak, and the blanket slipped from my hands onto the floor. My heart pounded in my chest as tears welled in my eyes. 4 years of devotion, 4 years of breaking myself to hold him together, and to him, I was nothing more than a servant he didn't have to pay. I wanted to burst into the room, to scream, to demand how he could reduce me to nothing after all I had given. But instead, I stood frozen, silent, listening to his cruel laughter echoing in my ears. In that moment, everything inside me cracked. Love, patience, hope, it all drained away, leaving only an empty ache. That night, I lay awake beside him, staring into the dark. Every sacrifice I had made played through my mind like a cruel film reel. The birthdays I missed, the friends I pushed away, the career I abandoned, the countless nights I cried silently while he slept. And now I understood. He never valued it. He never valued me. The next morning, I moved like a ghost. I cooked his breakfast, placed it in front of him, and when he barked about the eggs being overcooked, I didn't flinch. Something inside me had changed. My silence was no longer submission, it was clarity. Over the next few weeks, I began reclaiming myself piece by piece. I told him I was going to start working part-time. He protested, furious, but I didn't back down. I walked out of that house with my head held higher than it had been in years. At work, surrounded by people who treated me like a human being, I felt alive again. For the first time, I remembered who I was before my world shrank to his wheelchair. Mark noticed the change. His arrogance shifted to panic. He began pleading, apologizing, telling me he needed me. But his apologies rang hollow, poisoned by the memory of his laughter on that phone call. He didn't want me, he wanted control. One evening, as he begged me to sit with him, I finally said the words I had been holding in. "I cared for you because I loved you. But love is respect, Mark. And you stopped respecting me long ago. I will not be your maid. I will not be your prisoner. I am your wife, or I am nothing at all. He stared at me, pale and speechless. For the first time in years, I saw fear in his eyes, not of his disability, but of losing me. That night, I packed my things. I walked out of the house with my suitcase in hand, my heart pounding but my spirit light. And as the door closed behind me, I didn't feel guilt. I felt freedom. Life after leaving wasn't easy. I had to rebuild myself from the ground up, emotionally, financially, spiritually. But each day, I stood taller. I found joy in small things again. Coffee with friends, laughter at work, quiet mornings where I didn't rush to serve anyone. I even started volunteering at a rehab center, helping people who truly valued care and compassion. And with every step forward, I realized something: love is never slavery. Sacrifice without respect is not devotion, it is self-destruction. Today, I tell my story not with bitterness, but with pride. Because I chose myself. Because I remembered that I am worthy of love, not servitude. And if there's one message I want every person listening to take away, it's this: you are not defined by the way someone else treats you. Don't let anyone reduce your worth. Love should lift you, not chain you. I cared for my husband for 4 years, until I overheard the truth of how he saw me. That truth broke my heart, but it also set me free. Sparkle's inspiring ending for viewers. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't caring for someone else, it's remembering to care for yourself.